On Friday, Gambo, it is the home finale for the Phoenix Suns. They'll close on the road against Sacramento on Sunday. Of course, at this point, they've been eliminated from the play-in tournament. It's Bradley Beal bobblehead night on Friday. In a stroke of very inconvenient timing. Nothing can be done about it now. But Bradley Beal bobblehead
no
giveaway.
Throwing objects on the court. You will be escorted out of the building and never be able to return again. Please do not throw anything on the court.
Don't give anybody any ideas. You
know what people are going to do? They're going to break off an arm or break off a leg, and they're going to hold it up. Look, I got my Bradley Beal bobblehead. It's missing.
That's what we did.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
No, it's actually the truth. We actually have a Bradley Beal. Now, it's been like this for years. Well, since the Suns got him. But we've got a Bradley Beal bobblehead back here, and he is missing an arm behind me. So we didn't deliberately do that. But
listen, you plan these things out well in advance.
Oh, I know.
Okay?
I
so
know.
This is not.
I'm not. We're not going to make a big deal out of the Bradley.
You could maybe scratch this a couple of weeks ago if you kind of had an indication, but I don't know. I mean, you got to figure out something else you're going to give away. It is fan appreciation night. You want to give people something.
Sure. No. I'm just using it as a conversation starter for a conversation about Bradley Beal.
Go ahead.
I'm not
all right,
using
let's
it
get
for
into
10 minutes about Bradley Beal. Well, we talk about the things that need to be done this offseason, and I saw the clip on social media, and I know I was there for it because we did the show yesterday, in which you said there is zero chance that Bradley Beal is going to be back next year.
I'm going to double down on that today.
Well, and I don't dispute you, and I certainly don't dispute Matt Ishbia. When he wants to get something done, this stuff gets done. I think it's going to be complicated, though, to get rid of him, Gambo, because he does have to cooperate with being getting rid of, doesn't he?
I mean,
there
are avenues to get him out of here that don't include trading him. Yeah, you can't trade him. I don't think you can trade him. So I've never, I get aggregated a lot by people too. I say something and I've had people go, I've had to reach out to people and say, look, I've never said they're going to trade him. Gambo says the Suns are going to get rid of Bradley Beal. I never said they're going to trade him. I've never said they're going to trade him. Can't trade him. Contract's too big. Nobody wants to pay Bradley Beal $110 million. He will not be traded. Extremely unlikely he'll be traded. He is going to be gone. So now you get into the waive and stretch provision. You get into can you do it all at once? Can you get him to take a little bit less and then do it over time? And I'm not sure which way it's going to go. I'm going to do a deeper dive into it. But I'm going to start with the premise that he is gone. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with this. And I'm the first one that said it. And I'm not going to be wrong here. Bradley Beal is not going to be on the Phoenix Suns next year.
And again, this is not me disputing you on that. I'm just saying that.
How?
What do you mean?
You want to know how he's
going to
I
want to know if it's – I'm saying that if it's going to be the wave and stretch, he has to cooperate with you. He has to cooperate. He has to – because you can't just wave and stretch him. You're already maxed out with some of the other contracts that you wave and stretched on this team. And because you can't wave and stretch the entire amount of his contract – he would have to negotiate a lower buyout. Now, we've gone over the reasons why he'd be incentivized to do so. Hey, take a little less on the buyout. You know there's a contract out there waiting for you. You make up the difference in that contract, and you don't lose a dime. But at the end of the day, he still has the power to be able to say, no, I don't want to do that, in which case it forces you into another avenue to get rid of Bradley Beal. I'm not saying you're wrong. All I'm saying is that getting rid of Bradley Beal is complicated, and it's the satisfaction of getting rid of him is also going to be coupled with the fact that either way, you're going to be taking a mammoth hit on your cap for either the next couple of years or the next 5 years to not have Bradley Beal on your team, and that is going to be painful, Gambo, very painful.
But you know what? I mean, the Diamondbacks once got rid of Madison Bumgarner and Yasmani Tomas, and I mean, there's been
this
plenty
is
of guys.
$110 million compared to that.
I'm not disputing
it's a little
that.
Different.
I'm an addition by subtraction guy, and honestly, like this guy has, and we've said all along. I mean, it's not like he's a bad player. It's not like he's a bad, but he's a $15 million player. I'll just give you one example, and I don't know if this is the way it's going to play out, but, again, like, how much is Bradley Beal worth in the open market on a 2-year deal with another team? Is he worth 2 years and 20, 2 years and 25, 2 years and 30? Like, Because whatever that is, like you got to make it where he's not going to lose his money. I get it. I think you can, probably lose a little bit of money, especially going somewhere else in different tax situations. And he's going to want to go somewhere, and he's going to want to be happy and start over. This has been a disaster for him, too, by the way.
Of course it is.
Okay? This hasn't been good for him. He's miserable.
Yeah.
He's miserable here. So he's going to go. I'm not exactly sure the way it's going to go, but I don't think it's going to be trade. So it's going to have to be one of those waive and stretch provisions that's available. I think there's 2 of them, and you'll have to play this out. But addition by subtraction, like you got to start to break this team up.
Yeah.
And it's easy to break up Mike Budenholzer. We don't want you anymore. Goodbye. I got to pay you $40 million. That has nothing to do with the cap. It's easy to get rid of Kevin Durant. There'll be 10 teams that want to trade for Kevin Durant, maybe more. You could trade him, make the best deal. Easy. The hardest part is getting rid of a guy that nobody wants.
Yes.
And you're handcuffed a little bit because you can't buy him out completely because of the 15% rule and what Naz Little's already being paid.
Yep.
So, but you could do it. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Of course.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
And if there's one thing we've learned about Matt Ishbia, he's got a very strong will when it comes to things like this. He will find a way. Again, it's just going to be how much of a detriment is it going to be to your bottom line in terms of what you're trying to do in order to make this happen and to make him go away. And I'm not. He needs to be gone. This is, and I'm going to say this again, and I've said this 4 or 5 times every time we've talked about Bradley Beal. I want to bring this up one more time. The Phoenix Suns knew exactly what they were doing when they got into this. They knew exactly what the contract was. They knew exactly how much he was going to make. They knew about the no trade clause. That we can lay this at the feet of Bradley Beal all we want. We must also, in turn, lay this at the feet of the Phoenix Suns for the risk they took in acquiring Bradley Beal. You cannot do one without the other, in my opinion. You cannot say bad Bradley Beal without saying, hey, what the hell were you doing bringing on that contract? Did you not know how tough this was going to be to deal with? Mm-hmm. That being said, this might go down as the worst trade in the history of Phoenix sports. And I don't just mean the Phoenix Suns. I mean Phoenix sports. I'm not saying that the Washington Wizards in getting, Jordan Poole and Landry Shamet and all those pick swaps and all those second-round picks is all that bad necessarily. But you're going to do 2 years of Bradley Beal, and you're going to cut him, and you're going to owe him $110 million 2 years after you traded for him. That might go down as the worst trade in the history of Phoenix sports when it's all said and done. That is,
wow,
that is awful. Awful.
Because of how little you got out of him, and then how much you're going to have to pay to get off of him.
Yes.
It makes it different than trading Paul Goldschmidt for Carson Kelly and Luke Weaver.
Yes, very. Like that was a terrible trade. That was one of the worst trades in the history of Phoenix sports. This one's on a different level because you gave up all those pick swaps, you gave up all those second-round picks, and you're going to pay this cat $110 million to not be here. I mean, it's just, I don't know if it gets worse than that. I really don't. And so you sent me a tweet from somebody on social media who talked about Bradley Beal being the least popular player in the history of Arizona sports. Man, that's where I want to lay some of this at the feet of the Phoenix Suns. You made this deal, guys. You made this deal, and now you gotta sleep in it. You made the bed. You gotta sleep in it.
What was the one? The Marley trade didn't work out very good.
John
what was the
Williams.
one? What was the one when you were a kid that?
The Dennis Johnson for Rick Roby. Yeah, that was
the one. Dennis Johnson for Rick Roby. Yeah,
I cried like a baby the day that happened. But this one,
you still do sometimes every once in a while, right on the anniversary of that trade. Every year on the anniversary of that trade, Bernsey cries.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.